All right. So as always, we do record these meetings, so I'll go through it again. So we do have AV notice. Of course, this meeting will be recorded both audio and visual for publication to the SDS Consortium website. So kind of be mindful of what you either say or show, so that way, because it will be viewable for all who have access to the site. Real quick, a quick little update real fast. Of course, if you guys may or may not know, I'm pretty sure everybody knows by now, the Fall Consortium is coming up pretty soon. So it's October 9th through the 12th. I think it starts that 9th on the afternoon and then goes to the 12th in the morning. All the details and everything, I've provided the link in here to go straight to it, or I believe it's pretty much on the home site as well. So just make sure you kind of get your things in order if you need to, and I believe the rooms are kind of filling up quickly. I know I got mine yesterday, so just kind of earlier the better, to try to go ahead and make sure you're able to get yourself a slot into at least the recommended hotel that most of the consortium will be housed in, and of course I'm pretty sure there's other options outside of that if need be, but if you can kind of get in into the actual thing itself would be a better option. But just kind of keep that in mind that it's coming up pretty soon. But if you need more information, the link is actually in the agenda. Okay, so of course, if there's any other questions about that, I'll have that towards the end of this meeting call as well. So this is kind of, I guess, getting back to the way that we're kind of breaking it up with beginner stuff and then kind of more advanced things at the tail end of the last 30. I know we got 2:05 in here, so hopefully we can kind of get done within the next 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Mr. Brunette, I believe I had you down on here as a possible, I guess, help in a sense. But I don't think I got any response back for you. I don't know if you're still, are you still kind of okay to, I guess, re-clarify if necessary?
Yes, correct. Yes, I'll be happy to help where I can. I just didn't have time to take a look and respond to that. I apologize.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to validate before I made any assumptions. Okay, so I guess with the beginner session here, kind of going with the flow of things I kind of put together. So still delving into the base AutoCAD stuff for the ones that may, just getting started or kind of looking at it. So the one thing I kind of want to talk about was basically the meat and potatoes of the electrical system, which is really your components and parts and pieces and those type of things. So with any type of system or program or any type of design tool, you have to have graphical content to represent what you're trying to display on your prints. In the past or current state where you may be in, I don't really know how it is in other utilities, but today you probably have a naming convention that you currently use that makes sense for what you're doing, or it's kind of company specific, or it's you have or it might not be specific at all. It might just be a random set of numbers. It could be all the above. But of course, in today's or within the current CADing tools or just regular AutoCAD, where most of my experience is in outside the normal CAD tools, you can pretty much name the thing anything you want and it will work, and it's just fine. It's just a block. Of course, you're still bound by the Windows rules of, I think, with no spaces and that type of thing, and the character limits. But beyond that, you pretty much kind of name or describe your DWG block file or whatever you want it to be. But with AutoCAD Electrical, with it being a smart design tool and having to understand what you're trying to do, there are some rules around how you name and kind of identify the content that you're going to apply into your drawings. So the first thing, I kind of tried to put this in order of the way the actual file name is created. So the first thing that you identify 9 times, the first 10 times out of 10, will be either the part is going to be vertical or horizontal. And what it kind of means by that, for the ones that may not know, it's literally the way that your wiring connection is going to be. It's going to be vertically or horizontally. That's kind of what you're determining with the horizontal vertical, which you'll put an H at the very beginning of your file name, or a V for vertical. Of course, when we go through today, a lot of it's in the electrical health section, but I'm just kind of, I guess, can't name some of it down. If anybody has any, I guess, quick question or anything, just stop me or correct me if I'm stating something incorrectly as well. I guess also Mr. Burnett, if you feel inclined. The next thing that you want to identify with it, so now you're identifying if it's vertical or horizontal. Next thing you want to tell it is basically what family designation is this part or piece associated with. So what that means by family is mainly the family codes that we all have either adopted or starting to adopt within the recommended within the recommended family codes that the consortium has pushed up to the document around. I guess, Randy, you want me to give you a presenter real quick?
Oh, no. I hit that button on accident. Sorry, man.
Okay. That's okay. Just want to double check. So basically, programmatically, what Audic Electrical is going to be doing is reading that, again, just reading that D2G file name and reading that family code to know what material database that it needs to associate itself when you click on when you're going to select the material that you want to apply to it. So again, it's another filtering method within the system. One thing that we have done at Duke, just because there were some non out of the box family codes that we didn't have or didn't exist, is that we had some Z designation, or I guess I'll talk a little bit about the things that I found out what not to do. We had to have some parts and pieces that have what we call the Z designations on the front side. And what that ability gives you to do is kind of make up your own family code. Again, we use the ones that are in the family code document that's in the consortium website that were put together a couple years back. But what that gives us is it gives us to kind of get that custom or more recognizable family code, two-digit character with a Z in front of it, and it migrates over into the next 2016 or 2017. Right now we're in 2015 currently in our company, but so it gives us the ability to migrate that stuff over without too much of an issue. So we have some Z designations as our actual family code, but within the actual file name, we still use the non-Z version, just because I think electrical, if I remember right, only reads the first two characters and it doesn't recognize a third as a family code designation. So it kind of threw some things off. So what we had to do, as an example, we built we used the, I think it was a WD type, or not, either that or the family. Can't remember, one of those two to actually tell it to look at the Z family and not the actual one without it. But the block was actually built without the Z designation, so that way electrical will still work correctly. Because electrical has two options. It can either read the actual block name, or you can actually read an attribute instead. I think it's WD type. Is that right, Randy? I think off the top of my head. Or WD block name. Sorry, that's what it is. Yeah. WD block name. It'll actually read that value and that attribute and pull up pull up that catalog entry. So it's kind of be mindful of that if you plan on kind of using those Z designations for right now to get accustomed to the ones that Audic Electrical doesn't come out of the box with, and then and then be able to migrate those over to another release. So the next part of your block name will be your parent-child designation. So it's either a 1 or a 2. 1 is for parent, 2 is for child. The one thing that you want to kind of keep around, if you can, or the one thing that we kind of put our philosophy around, our parent devices are the only things that have material information in them. We do not have any children that have material devices in them. So for example, if you have an SEL or anything like or a breaker or anything of that nature that has other I/O elements within it, but yet you want to keep it all together as one orderable purchase item, but yet they're all still technically in the same chassis, I guess you kind of think about it. You want to make sure that the material information is not inside of the child, that it's actually being held within the parent device only. And then the child can also have its own uniqueness to a point where I believe that the tag name, the installation code, and the location values and the description values are all pulled from the parent's initial, the parent device. So if you bring in a the child's component and you associate it to a parent, those 4 attributes get auto-populated with the parent's information, and then pretty much everything else under there you can kind of give it its own child-specific data. So the things like PIN numbers, PIN information, some custom attributes if you would like, and those type of things. And that way, again, it keeps those connected together. So far, now we got our horizontal, vertical, our family code is going to go with, and then if it's parent or a child. And then the next thing that I think it's kind of an option. I don't think it has to be there, if I remember right, but I could be wrong. Is the normally open, normally closed, or Form C designation. So normally open, I believe, is 1, normally 2, and the closed is 2, and Form C is 3. So it uses those values to know what contacts or what ancillary contacts are either normally closed or normally open or a Form C type of contact. So that kind of helps out in a couple ways. One way is that it actually filters your things down within your pin list when you're actually selecting things from a pin list. And it also, again, you're able to use some of the swapping commands within AutoCAD Electrical, and I believe the toolkits as well is kind of using some of this to swap out one device for another, and it's changing the 1 to a 2 or a 2 to a 1.
Yeah.
If I remember right.
Yeah.
So
that's how we're using it as a toggle.
Okay, yeah. So you necessarily don't have to
2 symbols.
Yeah, so I guess to that point, you don't have to limit it to a normally closed and normally open designation specifically, but you can utilize that switching to kind of do some other things if you would like to. Of course, some of that's going to have to delve within, within the programming itself, but there's some opportunities to kind of play with it and it not be actually used specific, or uniquely for normally open or normally closed. So basically, after those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think it's 4 or 5 characters. The first 4 or 5 characters within the actual block name is designated for AutoCAD Electrical use only. And then what we do is we put an underscore, and then behind that underscore you can literally put anything you want behind it. So, and of course you can then use your own company's standards on naming conventions and those type of things to identify or to better segregate things out from looking at it from a list view in Windows Explorer, let's say. So that's kind of how you build out your symbol name when you create your symbol. You're just kind of keeping in mind that there are certain things or rules you have to follow that the AutoCAD electrical system relies on to actually function the way you would expect it to. So kind of moving on a little bit from that. So when you're putting these parts and pieces together, you're going to have some wiring connections. So there's 4 wiring connections within the devices, and the wire connections are obviously there for. One is there for to actually help you out on your wiring diagrams. So if the wiring connections don't exist, you're not pulling wiring data to push into your symbol on the wiring diagram side. So you got to kind of keep in mind if something's kind of not working right, there may be a wire connection issue. And there's a couple different wire connections. I think that there's the X1, X2, X4, and X8. I'm probably getting these wrong, but I'm pretty sure. I think
that's right.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to think of the direction. I think 1 is left, 2 is up, 4 is right, and 8 is down, if I remember correctly. So what that tells the system.
That was a little off. Yeah. 1 is to the right.
1 is right. Yeah, 1 is 4. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, 4 is left, 1 is right, 2 is up, 8 is down.
Correct.
That's right.
Counterclockwise instead of clockwise. Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Thank you for the clarification. But yeah, those wire connections dictate the system on which direction the wire is going to be coming from off your device. And I'll actually have a little bit of a quick demo to kind of show why it matters in a sense. And then also too, there's also things that are considered pass-through and non-pass-through. So you have a pass-through type of device, which basically means it's going to pass the wiring data through it, and then you got another one that's a non-pass-through, which is a wire number change on the other side. I know that terminals, again, going back to the block name, the actual block name tells it if it's going to change or not based upon a 0 or a 1 in the third character of the block name, I believe. And that will tell it if it's, and I think 0 is a
pass-through and 1 is a non-pass-through.
Yeah.
Actually, 0 is a pass-through and anything else is a non-pass-through.
Okay.
Ah.
Because the first character is an HRV, the next two are the family code, so that includes the second and third character. So for a terminal, T0 is a pass-through. T1, in the case of a terminal, because it's anything other than a 0, means it's a non-pass-through.
Okay.
But you'll notice components like a relay, HCR. CR is not the R is not a 0, so it's going to change the part number on the way through.
Yeah. Okay.
Or not part number, the wire number. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So to your point, that makes that device make the wire number that changes when the wire goes from one end to the other end, basically. And there are a couple ways of handling if you want a device to be a pass-through that is not considered a pass-through by the block name. So I guess just while I'm at it real quickly, let's see if this will actually open and work for me. It's going to spin and not do nothing. Come on. Every time I disconnect from my base, it goes wonky. So, worst of the worst, restart. So if I can get it to come up real quick, I'll kind of show what I'm talking about. But basically, I think there was something that I know that we had conversations with Southern at the time, and it really was one of the challenges or one of the things that we're trying to work around was, especially when it dealt with phasing. So we want to make sure that our three-phase phasing went through the three-phase device as you would expect it to. Even though technically when you build it and create it, it's different tap numbers, but yet you have to make sure that the wiring attribute information goes from one end of the breaker over to the other side. So I guess what is kind of explain
WD jumpers.
Yeah, so exactly. So I think one thing that we saw from them was start using the WD jumper attribute within your block, and you tell it which terminal numbers that you're actually going to be connected together, and it will actually bypass the wire number change the designation and actually pull the wiring information from one end to the other end correctly as you would expect, especially when it comes to the phasing. So I think that was one thing that definitely was a little bit different and not necessarily out of the box or in the help section per se, but it's definitely something that you can use to help bring that wiring connection over. And it's not subject to just three-phase material. You also can do that to other things as well if you have to. Is to throw in that WD jumper attribute into the part, and then again tell it the terminal connection numbers or the terminals that's going to be tied together. If this thing ever does boot up, I know I'm trying to get done quickly, so I give Randy some time to show his thing. It's slow. And again, it's 2 o'clock on our end, or 2:30, so everybody's trying to get on and do some things. So let me actually get back. So real quickly, so I got 2 breakers here. One's a breaker that's a pass-through, and the other one's a non-pass-through, just for showing once it gets there. All right, so that's the pass-through variants, and then the non-pass-through is going to be on the right. All right.
Y'all got cool pictures in there.
I know, we try to make it pretty for our customers. All right, so I'll just go through the wires on these real quickly. Try to do it. I had all this set up on the other one, but it froze up on me. So I'll just have to throw them in here as I go. All right. Shouldn't take too long. I guess I could have done both sides at one time, but that's what I'm thinking. Do that. They're short, but it's okay. I guess don't take my machine either as what our normal user machines are. My thing is it's destroyed. That's what we do all the testing on, so I need to tell them what actually will work and what won't work. But so I'm just going through some phasing on here, say A phasing, for example. We're incrementing through A, B, C. So A, B, and C. So in essence, what this should give me, I believe with the actual, this has the WD jumpers in it, so we should get an ABC on the other side. So the easy way to check that really is just kind of do a copy wire number, because that pulls the wire number from the other end. And if I click on here, you'll see that it's now ABC. So now this is a pass-through. Now if I try to do the same thing on the other end, for example, do another A, ABC. And then again, trying to do the same function here as a copy. Now I'm clicking, it's not giving me anything. So this again, this is telling me that I have to pick another wire number, so it's a non-pass-through. So again, this one has the actual WD jumper attribute within it, which is over here. So that's the WD jumpers attribute, and this is what it kind of looks like. So it's telling it that it's going from 1 to 4, 2 to 5, 3 to 6. So using the WD jumpers with the non-terminal type of devices, that's what kind of helps you get the wiring information from one side of the block to the other side of the block without traditionally being a terminal. But yeah, you still want the numbers to go through. So that's kind of, I guess, the hack, or the hack of the day that was kind of discovered. And again, I'll give credit to where credit's due, where Southern, I believe, was the first one to kind of start using that, and it made sense and it works, and I think that everybody would like to know about it. So that's one good discovery that happened there. So if you've been having troubles or anything, or kind of wondering how you're wanting to do that, that's kind of the solution, I believe, that has worked very well. And I guess also, if I can remember real quickly, one thing I kind of wanted to talk about real fast about wire numbers that we unfortunately had to learn the hard way one time, was that we have wiring diagrams, I'm pretty sure everybody else does, that goes, I guess, horizontally, but in a horizontal fashion to make sure everything fits, because you don't have enough room vertically on the drawing with a D-size print. So let's kind of grab something here. So one thing that you got to keep in mind, or one thing I don't know if everybody's run through this, but I know, unfortunately, unfortunately, I think some of our users, things are backwards, but that's okay. Some of our users or whatnot, so we had to bring in these wiring diagrams, and they would have, well, that's not why it's actually a panel. I don't know why it's not pointing at the correct one, but it's weird. But that's okay. I'll work with it. So we had like basically some wire diagrams that we want to show a connection, say for a communications cable or something. That's just going to be one wire sticking up out of the actual wiring diagram block with all the annotation on it. But yet the users kept bringing them in, and they kept rotating them in. So like, for example, say if I use this block as a quick, go away, as a quick example. So most folks would kind of bring these in and rotate them in, because they wanted things to go left or right, and so they could fill in the print. And one thing we found out was that once these blocks are built, and they're built with a particular direction of wiring connection, and you try to rotate it, for example, because you want to make it fit left or right, because you're still using model space for both your title block and your content. You may not be doing that anymore. I know when I came in 2012 at Duke in the Charlotte area, they still were doing that. So of course we had to go to paper space, model space. But if you try to bring in a wire, say I want to bring this out to my left, and this is actually built to go up, you'll notice it does not want to go out. It wants to go up or down because of the way that the connection is created. So you don't, I guess really the thing here that we had to learn or had to basically teach our users is not to rotate these blocks and parts inside of the model space to get the orientation that you want it to fit on the paper. So, and again, you may or may not know this, I don't know, but so obviously our recommendation or solution was for them to go into have the tile block on paper space, be able to go into the viewport and just literally rotate it, and then everything fits fine. AutoCAD electrical works the way it's supposed to, and everybody's pretty much happy. So, yeah, that's kind of my takeaway. I guess I wanted to make sure everybody is aware of, if you may not be, is that when you start building these blocks with wiring connection information and wiring connections, once those wiring connections are embedded into that block, it's kind of set. So it's kind of hard to get it to go in another direction than what it's built to go in, either up, down, left, or right. So if you have to do any type of rotating, make anything fit, that would be the best way, is to use a viewport. Yes, sorry.
Hey, Jared. We didn't actually build ours that way. We actually built them with the horizontal and vertical, and we can just move it around to horizontal and vertical, and it'll change direction. Is the way our blocks are built.
Yeah, that's how we built ours.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we didn't do it like that.
Well, back when I first got here, that's the way they were created, and that was one thing that ran into. And I think that if I remember right, David kept trying to rotate them in and go left out with it, and it wouldn't work. And it's not built to go that way.
Yeah. Well, they're not built like that anymore.
No, yeah, I know they're not now. I guess I should iterate it. That's what they used to be in the past. I'm talking about 5 years ago. But for the folks that may not know and just starting in, just kind of keep that in mind, that once those directions are set, they're pretty much set. And if you try to rotate things, they will still try to go in a direction that they already have been created for.
Yeah, you need to tell them, well, what they need to do is just build a horizontal and vertical number with the same designation, except for one to say H at the beginning and one to say V at the beginning. But they should have the same number.
This is a bad example. I know what you're saying. Think about the schematic block as a wiring diagram block. It doesn't have H or V on it. I'm sorry. I know I was probably using this in a bad way. I was trying to put my wiring diagram block in here, but it wasn't working, so I was just trying to show the wiring connection. I know what you're saying, but the wiring diagram block does not have a H or V designation on it. It's just a FP, W, or FP for us specifically. But there's no horizontal or vertical direction where, yes, you're right. When it comes to the actual schematic symbols, you do have a horizontal or a vertical variant, and you don't have to worry about the up, down, left, or right thing. You just put the right one in correctly to begin with. Mainly, I guess I'll reiterate, mainly the problems come into with the direction on mainly the wiring diagram type symbols and the panel type symbols only. Does that make more sense now? I guess, Frederick, for your concern?
Oh, I've been clear.
Okay. I just want to make sure I guess I wasn't clear in my own head, so I guess I just want to go ahead and make sure that was correct. So
yeah, you're right. Though once those designations are there, it definitely makes a difference. But definitely, we've been doing it the same way as far as schematic symbols. Having a horizontal version and a vertical version. That way, whenever you have a vertical line or a horizontal line, it doesn't matter. Once you go to insert that block, AutoCAD Electrical knows which one to insert, a vertical one or a horizontal one, and then that way it's always correct.
That's correct.
We have 4 blocks. 2 of them, toggle. I guess the orientation of them. We toggle the orientation of the bushings on them. But yeah, I understand what both of you guys are saying.
Okay, yeah, hopefully for the other ones that are getting into it, it makes sense. But of course, we can probably go more into way detail than that at some point in the future, if need be. But yeah, you're right with the H&V stuff. That's what tells it which block to throw in based upon the actual wire you're putting it on top of.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of basically in a nutshell. Kind of again trying to go quickly through this. How the wiring connections are kind of being used, and to also I guess I'll go and skip the other parts for right now because again I'm trying to keep mindful of time. I know I'm 10 minutes over. Just kind of want to real quickly go and touch, and so I can give Brandy some time to show his thing. So real quick, I didn't know if I should put this in the beginner section or the advanced section. So the machine setups, I know this was again was another block I believe I had of discussion, or some things that you guys might want to know about on what type of machine do you need. So right now, so the software being used is AutoCAD Electrical 2015 to 2018, Vault 2015 to 2018, SBS Toolkits 2015 to 2018. I think, Nate, you guys have the 2018 variant out now, correct? I think, with Trevor, email.
Yeah, 2018. I had to find the button. Yeah, 2018 is out there.
Okay, I just want to make sure. And I believe the UDH, if anybody else has not had a chance to actually look at that yet, but the Utility Design Hub, I believe, also is available from 2015 to 2018 as well. So those are kind of, I guess, the main softwares, I guess you can say, for P&C design within the SDS environment at the moment. Of course, everything up under ACAD also includes raster design, AutoCAD. I think that's kind of it, if I remember. There might be some other little things here and there, but I think that's kind of the bulk of it. So the Windows versions that I know we're currently on, I don't know about everybody else, but we're currently still on Windows 7. We do plan on going to Windows 10 next year.
Mm-hmm.
I guess what I will say is that I guess I had a question here if anybody else is currently on 10 and using the AutoCAD electrical products with the toolkits and everything everything's kind of working okay. Because that's one thing I know we're going to have to be testing to make sure everything functions correctly going from Win 10 to Win 7.
We went to 10 about a month ago, and everything's working like a charm, so
okay.
No problems.
This is Northern Randy, and I've been using 10 with AutoCAD electrical products for several years now, including the SBS toolkit.
Okay. So that's encouraging. So at least that tells me that it does work, and if it doesn't do on this side, something else is wrong. So, unless it's obviously an image, because I know I'm pretty sure that all the other utilities maybe. But I know one of the biggest ours we have specialized images that are put onto our machine, so there might be some limitations there. But
I'll tell you what, one thing that we had an issue with, and everybody chopped it up to be Windows 10 problem. You know how when you load AutoCAD Electrical in the start menu, like the start tab, if you have it automatically set to pop up, we were getting crashes every time we try to load it, and as soon as you click on that start tab, it crashes. So we just decided to load it without the start tab, and it's working fine now. But that was the conclusion we came to. I don't know if that's the solution, but that was the conclusion.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's probably going to be some things here or there that we're all kind of going to run into once they come up. And again, our own internal IT organizations will probably have to mitigate some of that in one way, shape, or form. But I just know current state for us, we're still on Win 7, and that's kind of our platform until the end of next year, I think, is when our official migration happens.
Okay.
But I guess if anybody was wondering if it does work on those platforms, then obviously with the confirmation from you two folks, it's a yes, seems like. And again, I guess as far as what type of machine you use, I know on the inventor side there's a really kind of hot topic on what type of how much power do you need. And my own again, this is kind of my own personal, I guess, opinion on things. I know that technically we cannot promote any type of specific company when it comes to hardware. So I kind of put down, I guess, this generic. So obviously you want a multi-core processor. I think mine currently has a 2.7 gigahertz processor, but you have like a 3.6, 4.2, or 4.0, whatever you want to throw in there. But really, I think with the 2018 processing, a multi-core one definitely is the way to go as far as to make it the most efficient. But you don't necessarily have to have and I guess I didn't put it in here, but as far as the graphics card is concerned, I think I literally have one of the cheapest ones probably, and it still works fine. So with ACADE, it's really not that graphical intense as Inventor is. But your basic graphical card that you get today at Best Buy probably would definitely work just fine with no issues as far as I can tell personally. I think right now, RAM wise, in my own personal opinion, the more the better. But if you can't afford those type of things, 8 gigs or so would definitely get you by. If your machine can hold more than that, definitely try to get more if you can. And also you want to have a 64-bit system. I don't think 32-bit is supported anymore on electrical. Is that right, Randy? Or Burnett? Burnett? Or little Randy, either one.
That's a short Randy question right there. That's how
I think it is still supported, but I am not sure. I'd have to go look it up myself. I've been using, again, 64-bit for several years now and haven't had any problems, so no need to go back to 32-bit.
Okay. Yeah, we have as well. I just don't. I guess I just kind of want to throw it out there if anybody was curious. But then obviously then the hard drive. My personal opinion, the biggest hard drive you can fit, the better. I know with a lot of the workflows that are currently out there today that we kind of have the kind of downloading things to the C drive, that type of thing. So I do have a 128 gig hard drive myself, and I've already loaded it up. So the higher hard drive you can get, the better. Obviously, an SSD will be a heck of a lot better than the old style RPM, 500 RPM turners, just for speed and wake up time, all that other good stuff. So that definitely would be the way to go if you need that. A lot of things, again, network-wise, are dependent upon how things are working. So obviously, the better the network, the more productive you'll be. I know ours is very choked with a lot of networking applications. But just kind of keep that in mind that, you will be pushing things back and forth through a network, especially if your vault is on a server somewhere else that's not in your home office, let's say. So just kind of keep that in mind. And then lastly, the couple of things that we ran into that was very, I guess, necessary that they really didn't think of at the time is, IT permissions is a big thing. So, having those permissions is very vital for you if you're the developer of the ACADE system and for your company. I would highly suggest that you try to get admin rights on your machine, just because depending on how much your stuff is locked down at your company, you're going to have to go in there and modify actual files and things that make certain things function or work the way that your company's needs. So definitely try to get admin rights on your machine as best as you can, if you can. I know one thing that, especially when it dealt with SQL servers, SQL, any type of servers, the networks, any type of cloud services, or the fog, as they say in the physical side. So anything of that nature, just kind of keep that in mind. And also the big thing I know for us that's helped out a lot in the past couple of years is having, if you already have one, that's great. But if you don't, a SharePoint site of some sort that you can house internally into your company is a great way of trying to help integrate your communications, content, a whole bunch of things, and workflows across your company without having to worry about LAN shares and those type of things to try to organize those things. So that's one thing I know that personally us here at Duke, but we heavily rely on SharePoint sites to kind of help out with a lot of that type of info. So to try to hurry up and get this through, hopefully Randy can go through maybe one of these. We can probably wait on the other if we need to, but I'll make you presenter for the copy design workflow, I think, is the first one you want to show.
Yeah, I'll probably maybe be able to go through one of them. I probably needed about 15 minutes or so, but I hate to rush through it. But
somebody had to make an appointment at 2 o'clock for some reason, but it's what it is.
Yeah. So is the copy design one the one you want to see?
That's fine. Okay. We can do the other one later, or the other one first and the other one later. So you can leave.
Okay. Yeah, I got an important appointment. Okay, copy design. Y'all see my screen?
Yes.
You do? Okay. So I'm just going to play this video and try to commentate because we couldn't get the sound to work earlier. So basically, what we've been doing is we have in Vault, we have all of our standard drawings in a folder. which is this library folder right here. And all of our standard drawings are in that folder. And basically all of our projects are in the OpCo projects folder down here. And what we do is, before we start a project, per standard, we copy that standard from the standards folder into the OpCo folder. So I'm gonna hit play on this and try to commentate a little bit. This is what you're seeing right here is actually a view of the project folder, protection and controls. These are all the files that I have in there so far, and notice that I do have a WDP file in there already. So when I do this copy design from the standards folder, I'm not going to copy the WDP file because I already have one. I'm going to copy just the drawing files into this folder. Yeah, so this is the standards folder right here. And these are the standard drawings, and notice that I'm only copying the standard drawings and not the WDP file, because basically what I'm just doing is adding these drawings to my project WDP file. Click those drawings, click copy design, and select all the drawings and select copy to. And at this point you find the folder that you want to place them in, which is the protection and controls folder. Hit OK. And this big blue button up here will actually do the copying. So it's copying those files into the protection and controls folder. Just close it out. So I'm going to go down to the protection and controls folder and notice that those drawings are copied there. At this point, I have to change the state of these drawings. We have different states that determine, I say change the category of these drawings, because different categories determine what states or what life cycles you're going to have in your drawings. And this, of course, is P&C design. And we have different states or life cycles or states within the design category. So I changed all those drawings to the P&C design category, what I'm circling a million times. And then I have to rename these files. There are separate naming conventions on these files. You have P&C, you have physical and civil and other naming conventions. And we actually change our file names to the P&C naming convention by just basically going rename, selecting the drawings. As you can see right now, they're physical.
Right now, to catch off, I think you rename those prior to copying them over if you need to as well, if I remember right.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think you have the option to do that.
Okay. Okay.
So either way works.
Yeah.
Work.
So we go down to P&C. That's the file name that we need. Hit OK. Hit finish. And close. And those file names are changed to the P&C file format. At that point, we do a get, which copies it down to our C drive. And for the project has properties over here to the right that are, project specific, sort of like, the address, the FN facility numbers and things like that. And we have to actually copy those properties to these drawings. So you do that by doing selecting the drawings. Let's see selecting the folder, sorry, and going copy properties. And basically what's going to happen is all those properties for the project are going to be copied down to each and every one of those drawings, including the ones that we just added. And that's what's happening right now. and now these drawings are a part of the project now. And after we get these drawings into the project, there are some other things that we do to them once we get them imported into AutoCAD Electrical that gets them ready. But that's basically in a nutshell the copy design function that we've been using. 5 minutes to spare.
Thank you, Randy. I appreciate it. I guess if you need a run out, obviously do that.
Yeah, I got to run.
Thank you for your time. And
all right. And I'll go over the what was it? The cable fan in, which is something that I do want to go over because Tim was talking about. Was asking about those source arrows, and we do the cable blocks the same way we would do the source arrows as far as the naming convention and the drawing properties and how those blocks are pulled in with the cable fan in tool. So I kind of wanted to go over that, but I guess I can do that next time.
Yeah, we can do that next time for everybody. But of course, if you just want to get with him, on you guys' own time off the side, and what have you. Yeah, if you, I know you gotta go, so we can set it up for next time.
Okay. All right. You guys have a good day.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All
right. All right. So to just kind of go again, trying to keep mindful of time. The last thing I want to kind of go back over, obviously with October Consortium again at the very beginning, like we talked about, is coming up soon, and I'm pretty sure that you folks might want to show something or kind of demo a new function or a new philosophy that you might have came up with. I believe so far I've gotten one suggestion. So again, I kind of just want to go through another call out there with this meeting, since it will probably be the last one that we taught before the actual consortium, to kind of send those in. And I was hoping, or I was, I guess, trying to hope that you guys could get the ones that want to actually show something. If you can let me know what that topic is by the end of this month, so that way I can have time to actually put together an agenda for October. So that way we can add it to the agenda to make sure that you get you kind of get a slot, and then I might be communicating back and forth with you a little bit to make sure how much time you need and that type of thing. So again, I got some examples on here as far as some ideas or topic examples that you might want to think around. Not necessarily that has to go this route, but just kind of think about some things that you may want to talk about. It don't really be a demo even. It could be just a discussion if you want to lead that discussion. Just let me know at least by, say, me or Randy. So let us know by the end of the month, so that way we have enough ample time to build that agenda effectively prior to our October face-to-face.
And I'll throw in there something that if you just have a topic that you'd like to see but you don't want to present it, make sure you that mention to Jared as well, and myself or somebody else could always volunteer to do that.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. Yeah, we're definitely, I guess for this time, it's kind of, I guess in my head, it's kind of some of those things, kind of have an idea of what of the agenda, but also leave some room there for us to kind of talk about some things that you're interested in or your company is interested in. So that way we can kind of get those ideas on paper, and also have it available for other folks to listen as well. And two. Again, like to his point, if you're not the type of person, you get in front of crowds and discuss and talk things and that type of thing, by all means, I'll throw myself out there as a willing participant to take your question on if you would like as well. So, and I'm pretty sure Randy or Randy B, I guess we can call him now, wouldn't mind either, or Nate or any of those folks. So with that, then let's try to keep time on track here. Is there any questions or comments or anything from anyone? Or
yeah, Jared, this is Courtney. I'm going to email you, but Tim and I think, would like to do a joint presentation since we've been working together in some development.
Okay.
It's more specifically, we have a distribution station that we've been trying to standardize for its protection scheme and try to make it modular. So yeah, I'm going to email you some more of the details, but we're definitely interested in getting that presented.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds like what we're trying to do on the Maximo side that we're implementing right now in our company. So yeah, so definitely that definitely be a great topic to go through for sure. But yeah, just kind of give me the rough idea and how much time you think you need and that type of thing, and then we can, we'll slot it in there. Anybody got anything else?
Jared, this is Tim. I just wanted to confirm that, did you get my submission from my email about the topic idea?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think I don't know why, but I believe that your email address is giving me some difficulties, or was, okay, or anybody empirical for whatever reason I can't seem to work with from your reason. Anyway, but yeah, I got it right here, so I think that's what you're talking about, correct?
Yeah, exactly. I just wanted to just follow up real quick on it.
Yeah, we're good. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks, man. Thanks.
No problem. So, anybody else got any other comments or questions or concerns? All right. Again, thank you for you guys' time, and appreciate it. I'll have an agenda put together for next month's meeting, and this video for this one will be going up on the site pretty soon, so kind of look out for the posting out on the SDS Consortium website for when it's available. So I guess that you guys have a good afternoon, good weekend, good month. For the folks that are viewing the solar eclipse, make sure you have glasses if you're actually coming down or going up to somewhere. Luckily for me, it's kind of in my backyard, so it's kind of nice. I don't have to go too far. But all that good stuff. Watch out for people who are looking up, especially if you're driving. And that's one thing that we're concerned around here. So with that, thank you. Have a good one, and we'll talk to you next month.
All right, later, man.